Right, so I talked to the shop about this Ibanez Gio and we commissioned the work. So as you can see, I've got the neck off. I remove the neck from a guitar body because when it comes to levelling these frets at this end here, there's always a chance you can damage the body. So if you've got a removable neck, I remove the neck, and what I do is I use the bolts to go through a plank, which I've done. I get it on the jig, get it all leveled, get it all zeroed out. It's completely supported. I don't know what you can see from here, but I've coloured all the frets according to what needs doing. Now, the high frets I've coloured black, and the frets that are all level I've coloured red with just regular marker pens, blah blah blah. And what I do is I'm going to go across with perfectly level sanding beam. I had this ground flat, this steel bar. I've got some 300 grit on this side. I've got some 600 grit on this side. And what I do is I go across with the 300 grit, and I want to be taking the black off but not taking off any red, because I know the red is a level fret, so the black is a high fret. So once I start coming into taking off the red, I need to stop in that area. And I'm going to do the whole length of the guitar. I'm not going to be on my knees doing it, but I'm basically going to go the whole length of the guitar. I've done plenty of videos on this job before, so I'm not going to show you a lot. All I'm going to do is light passes. I don't put any weight on the bar at all because it does it itself. And all this is doing is taking off the black. It's not touching the red at all, it's taking off the black. Once it starts touching the red, we know we've taken these low enough. So I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to do the whole fretboard, not take long. I'm going to do the whole board, and once it's done, once I start taking off red, I know all the frets are level. Now what's going to happen is we're taking the tops off these frets, so we're all going to be flat. So once we've all been flattened, but we've got them all level, we're going to have to put that crown back in, and that's a completely different job. I'll explain that job as I get to it later. I just wanted to show this guitar, but before I do go, I just want to grab, just to show, that could be any old neck there. There you go, there's the body off it. Look, I don't know if these are new strings or not, so I've left them strings on there. I can use them again if need be. That's the actual body of the guitar. It's a nice neck, it's a 24 fret affair, reverse headstock, Gio Ibanez GRGR121EX. Made in Indonesia, I imagine. So I'm going to blob on with this, show you how we go on. Oh, I also, of course, I had to remove the nut so we don't knock into anything, otherwise you're going to be knocking into a nut every time you work. And I cover the tuners. Now we're not going to hit the tuners, we go right over them anyway. So doing it this way on a jig, getting it older on a jig, it means we're not going to cause any damage to the guitar, we're not going to put any scratches anywhere. Everything's taped up, so we can't, we're not going to mark the fretboard or anything, we're not going to get any dings in there. Always, I've learnt this, it's been a process of learning over the years, all this stuff, but this is the best, completely the best way to do it. I might flick over it with a, if I just go into my box down here, I might go over it with a radius block later when it comes to re-radiusing the fretboard. I can't find it at the moment, it's about somewhere. Oh, it's here. Radius blocks, you know how they work. They cut to a certain radius and we stick on some sandpaper and we can radius the whole thing later. I tend not to use these that much anymore. I much prefer to go with one of these bars. So like I said, I'm going to get on with this. I'm going to continue with this job. I'm going to come back once I've got it all level. Once I've got it, like I say, I'll go on with the 300 grit until I've got the black down to the same level as the red. Then I'll go across the whole board with the 600 grit side, just so everything's nice and smooth, everything's level, and then I'll get back to crowning the frets. I'll be back soon. Hello again. Right, okay. Got all the frets leveled. I've done it with both sides of the bar, the beam. We've got all of the black removed and we just started nipping into the red. So once we start nipping into the red, then what we do is we go to a 600 grit side and we start taking off. Once we start removing red off every single fret, which we have done, then it's time to stop. So what we do now is, I've determined that the frets are all level by going across with the fret level checker. Now I know which ones were high because they're black, and all the red ones were level anyway. But now you can go across the whole, I guarantee, I've already done this and checked this. And I don't just check the middle, I check the edges as well. Right, and we've actually got a complete level fretboard all the way along the length. We've got no rock anywhere. So now we determined that all the frets are level. Now what we're going to need to do, that was a little bit high, I'll sort that out in a second. 17 is a little bit high. Everyone else is brilliant, so let me just check 17 again. Is that the right one? Oh, we're all good. So, it was an absolute, must have been a fluke. There's nothing wrong with that. 17, I'll just check it again. There's a rock on there. There's nothing on there. Nothing at all. So we're absolutely right. Now, I might have to give it a run over with radius block. This is a 12, it's already sanded up, but I think these radiuses on here are a 14. So it means me papering up a 14. I don't need to do it, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it all by hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the camera in. I'm going to show you now how we've flattened. All the tops of these ones I've done are flat. The red ones won't need touching, but the black ones will need touching. We'll need recrowning every one of them. So I'm going to bring the camera in. I'm going to show you how I go about recrowning a fret. Where it's now flat on the top, I'm going to put that curve back in. And there's a couple of ways I do it. This is more for the owner and for the shop than for myself. I've done loads of videos on this. Let me pick a fret there. I'm going to pick this one. There you go. So I'm going to get that right in the middle of the camera. There you go. And I'm going to zoom in a little. There you go. So this fret, whichever one it is, it'll be number 8. Just to show you how it works. Now I don't know if you can see, but we've flattened the top of this because it's gone across with the beam. We need to put the curve back in it. So what we're going to do is take away all that pen. I'm going to show you one fret. I'm not even going to show you how I polish frets because I polish them with all different grades of sandpaper. I've done it in all other videos. If you want to go and see that in action, you can watch the other videos. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take a blue pen this time, and I'm going to colour the top of this blue. There you go, that's all coloured blue. Now what I'm looking to do is, because that top's flat and I want to put that curve back in, I'm going to re-crown this top where it's flat. I'm going to put that curve back in. Now there's a couple of ways I can do this, because this is why I tape up the board now. Got a crowning file here. It's got 3 edges, but each of these corners is ground completely flat, so we can't damage the guitar. And what I'll do is, I'm going to work the opposite way to what I normally do, and I'm just going to run across the side of a fret, and as I come across I'm going to tilt the file, and I'm going to do both sides. And what I'm looking to do is, I'm looking to make a line down that centre. I want that line thin, and I'm looking to get it round about, I do it by eye, about 1/2 millimetre should do it. And what that's going to do is, that's putting the curve back in. Now, that line is about 0.7 millimetre, but you see I've come across nice and gentle, just a few strokes, nice and light. You don't go gung-ho at it, like so. Just nice strokes. And you can see, I don't know what you can see there, I've put a nice thin line right down the centre. What that means now is that fret is now nicely curved on the top again. We've got a crown back in there. Now what we'll do is with that is, because I've done that, I'll do it with all the other frets, all 24, and then I'll start polishing it with sandpaper going across that way, all different grits, and I'll go that way with the sandpaper, and I'll come around and do it from the other side, and I'll do it that way. and I use 3 different grits. I'll start with 1200, go to 1500, go to 2000. Once that's all done and we've got them highly polished and all rounded off, then I'll start going over with steel wool. Now just before I get on to the sandpaper job, I've got a crowning file again. These all got different size, I don't forget what you call these, a bit like a caul in a way, and they're grooved and the radius. And what I'll do is I'll just give this a run, just because this will crown the edges as well, but we can crown the top with that. That will remove any burrs, and there you go. And then what I'll do is I'll give it a polish, and that fret is finished. So I had a bit of a problem with the video editing there. The end of the last part missed off. So what I meant to say was I'm going to blob on with, I've just finished that fret, I'm going to blob on with the rest of the frets, and I'll get back to you soon.